The future of Europe and setting the path toward European elections, a European Parliament debate with German Chancellor Angela Merkel. A budget looking years ahead, pushing for more funding for youth, innovation, and smarter farming. An energy package that puts EU climate commitments to action while giving flexibility to different member states to adapt. And setting new rules for telecoms, updating nearly decade-old regulations by gearing Europe toward 5G and cutting excessive fees. Hello and welcome to our roundup of the European Parliament's latest plenary session here in Strasbourg. We begin with the German Chancellor's view of where Europe is headed as the EU prepares for elections next spring. She debated the future of Europe with members of Parliament. The Chancellor spoke of the European Union's progress in tackling tough issues like the migrant crisis, and she called for more: banking union, a common asylum policy, an EU Security Council, and a European army. The latter drew strong reaction from her opponents, to which she responded.
Aber liebe Kolleginnen und Kollegen, es wäre doch viel einfacher, mit uns zusammenzuarbeiten, wenn wir heute über 160 Verteidigungssysteme haben, Waffensysteme haben. Die Vereinigten Staaten von Amerika nur 50 oder 60. Wenn wir für alles selbstständige Verwaltung, Betreuung, Ausbildung brauchen, dann sind wir doch kein effizienter Partner. Und wenn wir unser Geld effizient einsetzen wollen und doch für gleiche Ziele kämpfen, dann können wir doch in der NATO mit einer europäischen Armee gemeinsam auftreten. Das sehe ich überhaupt keinen Widerspruch. Und das schließt dann natürlich, schauen Sie, ich bin da, ich freue mich dran. Ich lasse mich doch nicht irritieren, ich komme auch aus dem Parlament. Also.
EPP Group Chairman Manfred Weber voiced his support.
Wenn wir Richtung europäische Armee gehen, wenn wir weg von der Einstimmigkeit hin zum Mehrheitsprinzip gehen, dann kann aus dieser Europäischen Union nicht nur ein politischer Gigant werden, der wir heute schon sind, sondern es kann aus dieser Europäischen Union auch ein ökonomischer Gigant sein, der wir heute schon sind. Es kann aus dieser Europäischen Union auch ein politischer Gigant werden, der unsere Werte, unsere Interessen global durchsetzen kann.
Next, it's not easy drawing up a budget for Europe over 7 years, but that's what the EU does. Members of Parliament, despite Brexit, are pushing for more funding than the European Commission on some key programs. Let's take a look at some of them. It would be the first budget plan after Britain is to leave the European Union. MEPs are calling for the 7-year plan from 2021 to be 1.3% of the EU 27's gross national income. That's higher than the 1.1% the European Commission has proposed. The EPP Group's Janusz Lewandowski, a former EU budget commissioner, is co-rapporteur for the plan.
New challenges deserve new funding. That is about migration policy, that is about border control, but still part of Europe is catching up, and still this is not yet done.
The increase in the multi-annual financial framework, or MFF, would maintain financing of economic development and the common agricultural policy. It would provide 120 billion euros for the Horizon Europe program, formerly Horizon 2020, doubling the amount for small and medium-sized enterprises. And it would triple the budget for Erasmus+, the cross-border educational and training program. Jan Olbricht is also an EPP Group co-rapporteur.
Very good projects are not co-financed from European Union. They are going somewhere else in the world. So we have to do everything to give the possibility for the European researchers, scientists, to have the support from European Union.
We turn to energy, a decisive issue as the EU helps to lead the fight against climate change. The new energy package aims to get all the member states on board in slashing greenhouse gases 40% by 2030. Here's how they plan to do it. It pools EU-wide efforts with incentives and tax-saving schemes to cut energy use by nearly a third by 2030. It allows for flexibility among the member states depending on a country's ability to adapt. Christianis Karinch of the EPP Group authored Parliament's report on the package.
The idea in the legislation is that everyone pitching in from their own starting point, their own ability, their own capability, we raise the overall rate because we want to cut the overall emissions.
One way to meet the energy target is to boost renewables, including wind, solar, and biofuels, to nearly a third of the total by 2030.
That means these are clear directions in which to invest money to create jobs, because there's going to be a huge demand for the products that can help you produce renewable electricity, renewable energy.
Finally, if you thought slashing mobile roaming charges was a big step, there's much more to do in the way of setting rules for telecoms to spark more competition, like cutting more excessive fees as part of updating an outdated telecoms package. Here's what Parliament gave the green light to. The EU is adapting its telecoms rulebook, last amended back in 2009. The new rules include eliminating excessive fees for consumers providing faster internet as well as 5G mobile networks. The new rules limit intra-EU calls at 19 euro cents a minute and 6 cents for an SMS, excluding VAT. It also sets a minimum internet speed. The EPP Group's Pilar del Castillo authored Parliament's report.
With this regulation, which is very much focused on connectivity in very high capacity networks and the deployment of, development of 5G, then our economy in the digital single market will have an extraordinary opportunity to really be very competitive in a digital economy at global level.
To boost security in the EU, the telecoms package calls for authorities to set up a reverse 112 emergency warning system to alert the public via their mobile phones. MEPs note that had that system been in place during the Paris terror attacks in 2015, the casualties could have been less severe.
You are in the middle of a known situation like a fire or like another catastrophe, then they have to assist you, to go to you and to try to help to you with all kind of explanations and information.
That's all for now from the Strasbourg plenary. Find out more about the activities of the largest political force in Parliament by checking eppgroup.eu. Until next time, thanks for watching.